Welcome to Good News on Entertainment. I'm your host, Summer Senni. My guest today is a musician who is sharing her heart through music. She has released a Christmas EP and is working on her new worship EP, and I am so excited to talk with her. Please welcome Katy Weirich to the show. Katy, welcome.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
So how did you become interested in music?
My goodness. I have always loved singing, just as a child, just singing all the time. I like to whistle.
Ooh.
Whistling all the time. When I was 12, I started, just tinkering around on the piano, and my mom taught me a little bit of like The Entertainer and chopsticks and Heart and Soul, on the piano. And so, yeah, and then, did choir in high school, ended up studying music in college. So I guess it kind of just grew and grew and grew.
That's awesome.
Yeah, love music. you gotta love it if you're going to do it.
Exactly, yeah. If you're going to make a career out of it, better be something you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
So you sing and you play piano.
I play piano, yeah.
Do you play any other instruments, or is that's just your forte, singing and playing?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long have you been singing and playing professionally?
I would say since like 2010-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. Have a little business doing weddings and stuff. So, yeah, that's just a good way to get to like use those skills that I was learning in college, and, getting to play and whatnot.
Yeah, that's awesome. And wedding ministry. That's really cool. Really unique. At what age and where did you lead worship for the first time?
So the very first time that I can remember leading worship was I was up in Pennsylvania at a very small Christian school, and we had chapel, and it was the song was "Nothing But the Blood of Jesus," and I was in middle school. I don't know the exact age, but I would say like 11, 10, or like right when I was really starting to get into piano, and they just like asked me if I would come up there, and I just, did some very basic block chords, and but the sound of my peers singing with me, like helping, like, lead them along, was just like, I was sold. Like, I was like, this is the best, like, ever, So it's kind of stuck with me ever since, and so it's kind of come full circle to now, like, that's what I feel called to do, is worship music and leading other people before the Lord. So.
Would you say that experience was kind of the beginning of thinking maybe this is something I would want to do?
I think I had no idea at
Really?
that age. I mean, my walk with the Lord, thankfully, like, has started really young. So I think I was just, happy to just worship him, and that I could, share that with my peers, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I ever thought, oh, I might want to like do that someday.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know.
interesting. So what types of music do you sing? Do you just sing worship music, or is there other things you like to sing?
Yeah, predominantly. I mean, that's the main thing. I mean, in college, we were doing all classical stuff.
Yeah.
So I had to, learn like the proper way to sing, and it's definitely more like an operatic type of way of singing, which I don't use a whole lot anymore. But I will say, I don't think I could do like what I do today if I hadn't had that like background.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Like, just the things you learn, like the tediousness of just like how to breathe and everything, it carries over.
Yeah.
I feel like. So, and to be able to sing for long periods of time without, vocal fatigue.
That's true.
It's just all that stuff.
Yeah.
Comes in handy. It really does.
No matter what type of style you sing.
It really does, yeah. So I'm grateful. I really am. Like, I've taken a lot of stuff away from that experience in college.
When did you realize that maybe this is something I want to do?
Yeah. So it was about 6 years ago, and I was at MomCon.
Okay.
It's MOPS. It's a international Mothers of Preschoolers. It's a ministry that's international, but I'm part of the one here locally in Fort Myers, and we had the opportunity to go out to Louisville, Kentucky, and I was there, and the person leading worship, Meredith Andrews, was there, and I had always heard about her, but had never really like investigated. But it was such a powerful experience, like her authenticity, and like it was the Lord like really was speaking to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, like that's when I officially felt called, but I didn't know what that would look like. So coming home after that was just like, just take the next step. What does that look like? So serving in church, and I got to mentor some high school students where I went to high school. They were on the worship team, just serving like where you're planted and being faithful, and doing this EP, the Christmas EP at home, and just little little ways that you can just keep cultivating and learning and just waiting for God to open the next thing. So that's kind of a long story, but that was definitely like a mile marker, like, whoa, like he is calling me to something, and it's definitely worship. I don't know what that looks like, but yes, Lord, like I heard you, like trust me, I heard you. Like I'm on it. And I've deviated a little bit along the way, and we all get distracted sometimes, with different things. But very like focused on, running after that calling I feel like he's put on my life. So
yeah, and that's awesome, because we all have to have that one moment where we say, okay, this is what you're telling me, Lord, and then you're right. It's just the little moments that we can do to ultimately get to our end goal. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Katy, what would you say is the message of your ministry?
So I have this Bible verse, Jeremiah 29, and it really, I'll paraphrase it. It's basically like Isaiah saying, if I say, Lord, I'm no longer going to speak your name or mention you, there's, like a fire shut up in my bones, and I'm weary with holding it in, and I can't. That's how I feel. Like I've experienced the goodness of God and the faithfulness of God, and I have to share it. Like I have to, and so that's the purpose behind it. I feel like I really actually have like this burning, like these embers, like down in my heart, just welling. I guess not. Well, welling is the opposite of fire, but like welling waters, like just wanting to, I have to share the good news, and I want people to know him and experience him, and have that fire catch,
Yeah.
So yeah, Jeremiah 29.
That's
20
awesome.
verse 9. That is like the core of my mission, or whatever.
That's
you would
awesome.
call it, so.
And that's when you know it's real. When you just want to give and give and give and
Yeah.
say, this is what Jesus has done in my life. This is what he can do for you.
You're right. It's serving. It's
Yeah,
serving.
it is serving. And that's exactly what you're doing with your ministry.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Where are some of the places that you have performed?
Well, what do you mean by perform? Like lead worship?
Yeah, yeah.
So at my church, Calvary Chapel, Abide in Naples. It's a really, really new church plant, and we're really, really happy to be a part of it. So we my husband and I lead worship there, and the church where I go to MOPS, New Hope Presbyterian Church, has had me lead worship for their women's events these past 2 Christmases. So yeah. And then lots of weddings. Lots and like 10 years of weddings. But that's great, because, marriage is, God, that's God's, model to us of himself. And I don't know. It's always cool being a part of wedding ceremonies.
Yeah. What is it like being part of wedding ceremonies and being able to share the music in a different type of setting than it's still worship, but in a different type of worship setting?
Yeah. So it's almost like people are there not necessarily expecting anything from you, but you still want them to feel something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you always want people to think, oh, there's something special on that music. And hopefully if they were ever to ask, you could be like, I'll tell you what it is. It's not me. It's all the Lord. Yeah, so and it's sweet to see. I still tear up like most times. I'm kind of a crybaby. But it's just see people, committing their lives to each other, and yeah, it's cool. It's good.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
that's an awesome facet of your ministry that you have, that you're
Yeah.
able to do both worship in
Yeah.
church and then have
Yeah.
your wedding ministry. So that's
Mhm.
wonderful. Katie, what does music mean to you?
What does it mean? I think it's a lot of people would say like worship is music, but I think well, I would say music is just one of the ways that we can worship God, but it's one of the ways um, that I feel most connected to God, like
Mm.
that I feel most like in tune with Him. And so for that, I just would say music is like a huge gift that He's given like to mankind. And but also with that, it should be held with reverence and not used for our own glorification. I mean, um, yeah, it's a gift, and I'm really grateful for it. And yeah, I just want to like give it back. It's like
Yeah.
the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah,
It
there you
really
go.
is.
The gift that
Yeah,
keeps on giving.
yeah.
You have released your Christmas EP, Lullabies from the Stable.
Mhm.
Tell us a little about that.
So that was released last December 2017, and I was I'm a stay-at-home mom. So my youngest at that time was around 1 or maybe almost 2. So, still taking 2 naps a day, you're kind of confined to your house. And, I have this fire in me. And
Yeah.
I want to serve and do all these things. And so literally like the Lord just laid it on my heart, like you can do something right here in your house. And so I just, I got on my computer, and I have some equipment, and I just laid down, some of these tracks. But the whole point of it is to raise money for this really, really great ministry here in Fort Myers called Verity. And it's a pregnancy center that helps women, who are finding out that they're pregnant and they don't know what to do.
Mm.
And so it's kind of like lullabies for the unborn. And so the record is supposed to raise money for the lifetime of the project for that ministry.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you select which songs you wanted to put on the album?
So Silent Night has always been really special, and the arrangement that I do is a nod to Mannheim Steamrollers, like 1981-ish. I have to fact check that. It's track 11 on their, I think it's their first Christmas album, and my dad would always hold me as a baby and have that playing. So I was like, oh, I'll do that because I love that, and it's so pretty, and I love Silent Night. And then the other ones were just honestly just my favorite Christmas carols, ones that were the most peaceful because I wanted it to really be lullaby, like a lullaby. And so that's basically, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One of the ones is a cover of Joy Williams, Here With Us. And I love that. Just the fact that, staying true to that Christmas time is all about how God came here to be with us, and that He's still here with us even if He's not here physically. So I could go on, but.
And you mentioned that proceeds from Lullabies from the Stable are going to Verity Pregnancy Center.
Right.
So how did you get involved with Verity?
So Verity, MOPS again. Go MOPS. So yeah, every year our MOPS group benefits a ministry, and over the past, wow, it's like 6 years now that I'm going to be a part of MOPS, but that's the ministry that we would, raise money for, and so that's how I heard about them, and I really, loved their ministry, so it's like, yeah, that's what I'll do.
That's awesome. How can people purchase Lullabies from the Stable?
So it is available wherever digital music is sold, so, iTunes, Apple Music. It's also, on Pandora and Spotify, so even if they just stream it, it's not small. It's better to buy, then they'll get more money, but the syncing and the streaming will also benefit Verity. So, or they can go to my website and there will be a link to purchase.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You are working on your newest worship EP, and one of the songs on that EP is called Worthy. Tell us a little about that song.
Okay, so Worthy, wow, that has a story. It's actually the first song that I've ever written that's like a worship song.
Okay.
And I wrote it actually in the car driving. Like I had just finished this long like 26 show run of Oklahoma.
Oh, wow.
That I was doing with a community theater, and just kind of like, what am I doing? Like that's what I meant earlier about kind of getting distracted. Like, not that it's like a bad thing, but it's, it was kind of deviating, and I was just in the car and I was just singing as I pressed, record on your voice memo, and it ended up being this song. But even more than that, it's kind of become, it kind of became an anthem for me when I went through a really, really hard time after having my second child. Really struggled, ended up, having, panic attacks and like debilitating anxiety. And the words in that song that I had written like 2 years prior became like, that's you singing that. Like, that's still true, even though you don't feel like that right now. Like one of the words, while I'm speechless, you're speaking. Because at some points I'd literally have an attack and like fall down, and my husband would carry me to the couch, and the worst one was literally left me speechless. Like I couldn't say anything. So that song's super special. And I'm grateful to like share it with people, and
Yeah, and what it's done for your life, it
Yeah.
can do for other people.
yeah.
Well, we
I
have
hope so.
that song to play for our viewers, so let's play
Okay.
Worthy for them.
And I still, surrounded by your grace, beholding your power in glory. My spirit faints, for you have called me worthy. Your blood has made me worthy.
Wow, what a beautiful song. Oh, I love it.
Thank you.
Now, Katy, Worthy and several other songs are on your newest worship EP. Tell us about that. That's so exciting.
Yes, it is exciting. So yeah, we're in pre-production. So like just started about a month ago. Yeah, so we're not sure when it's gonna be coming out in its entirety, but we're gonna be releasing one song at a time.
Okay.
So be on the lookout. And then by the end of 2019, it will have been released.
It'll be fully
Yeah.
released. That's awesome.
Yes.
Do you have a title for the EP yet? Or are you
Not
still
yet.
working?
I'm still thinking about that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
What are some of the lyric themes that listeners can hear?
Yeah, so a lot about, you know, the peace of God, not being afraid. One of the songs that I'm pretty sure that'll be on there is called Fear Not. And just about the perfect love of God, just, you know, casting out all of our fears, the faithfulness of God, just the grandiose, you know, how big God is, are some of those themes, and just that, you know, we need to be humble before him, and that he's so big. Like, I think we just put him in a box sometimes. So I kind of want to unbox him. You know, unboxing is so popular. Well, let's try to unbox him. You know, he's so big. And I hope people like really can just sense that in this upcoming project.
I love that, because you're right. We do tend to put God in a box, and when he doesn't fit in our little box, then we're like, well,
Yeah.
let's just not
More
do
saran
that.
wrap.
Right, yeah.
Stuff him in.
So I like
Yeah.
that, taking him out of the box and thinking
Yeah.
outside of the box. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure.
What was the inspiration behind this EP?
Wow. So it's basically just something that I felt God was calling me to do. I spent the last year, you know, I felt like, you know, he was telling me, I just want you to spend this next year writing. And so I did that. And then sure enough, you know, a year, you know, came and went. And then I was like, wow, like, so what's next? And, you know, reached out to some people and had a great response, and we're just grateful to be able to, like, you know, work with a really great producer that we're just thrilled to meet and have met. Met, and God just seems to be opening doors, so we're just faithfully gonna walk through. And even though it's kind of, whoa, what are we doing? Like, okay, like, we're just gonna take the next step, you know, just one more step, and one more, and just being faithful.
Yeah.
Continue to be faithful.
And it's exciting, and we will
It is
make sure
exciting.
we keep a lookout for that, for
Okay.
all of the songs that release, and then for the full project.
Yeah.
So, Katy, you also have merchandise on your
Yeah.
website, katyweirich.com. Shameless
That's
plug.
right, yeah, of course.
And the merchandise features a blue jay. Tell us a little about that.
Right. Okay. So the blue jay is super special. As I had mentioned before, after I had my second daughter, I had a really, really bad place in my life, like, you know, anxiety, panic attacks, like very severe depression, and it was hard to get through the day. And I noticed that I'd see these blue jays. I would see a blue jay. I'd look out the window, and it was always just at really low moments. But then as I got better, just out walking with my kids, you know, I would see one, and it literally was like, it felt like, you know, just a gift from the Lord, and it was like, keep going. I see you. I see where you are. Like keep going. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. And then, fast forward about a year, and I had the opportunity to go to Scotland with my family. We're on a bus, like a big coach bus, and we're driving. I look out, and I see a flock of blue jays, and I had never told anybody because it was like my special thing with the Lord. And I started bawling. My sister's like, "What is wrong?" And I'm like, and I had to tell her.
Yeah.
I told her. And just to see, like, he did what he said with each time I saw that blue jay and the message that I would feel him saying to me, like, he did that. Like, look where I am. I'm in Scotland with my family, and came home, was in the kitchen. I had this Oswald Chambers, like, daily, like, turn calendar kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was so helpful for me when I was in that bad place, just getting that encouragement. I look on it when I come home from Scotland, and I never knew he was Scottish, Oswald Chambers. And the pictures on that flip calendar are like where I was.
Oh my gosh.
It's just like, you can't fully explain that. So the blue jay is kind of like, the reason why I made it a part of my branding is because, it's looking up. And it can be hard to look up, especially when you're in such bad places. But that's the story behind the blue jay.
That is a beautiful story.
Yeah, thank you.
Katy, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule and coming on Good News on Entertainment and talking with our viewers.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's our show. You heard about Katy's Christmas album, Lullabies from the Stable, and be on the lookout for her newest EP and her branding. Have a great week. God bless.